When most people hear the word DeFi or decentralized finance, they think about cryptocurrency, blockchains, and digital tokens. But what's often overlooked is that the principles behind DeFi, decentralization, transparency, smart contracts, and incentive alignment, can also be applied to traditional business models. In fact, many U.S. companies are already experimenting with these ideas, whether they use the term DeFi or not. The result is a growing movement where real-world businesses are beginning to adopt decentralized protocols to create stronger, more resilient profit models. So what does decentralization actually mean in a business context, and how can legacy companies benefit from applying these principles? Let's break it down. First, decentralization is about reducing reliance on a single point of control. In finance, this means removing middlemen like banks. In business, it means spreading out decision-making, operations, and revenue streams so that no one bottleneck can bring the company down. Take supply chains, for example. When the pandemic exposed weaknesses in centralized overseas manufacturing, many firms learned the hard way that putting all production in one region was risky. By decentralizing supply networks, using multiple suppliers in different regions, companies reduce risk and ensure continuity. This mirrors the DeFi principle of distributing nodes across a network so no single failure collapses the system. Second, DeFi thrives on transparency. On a blockchain, every transaction is visible. In the corporate world, transparency is becoming a competitive edge. Consumers and investors are demanding clearer information on sourcing, sustainability, and governance. Businesses that build transparent protocols, for example, showing exactly where raw materials come from or how pricing is calculated, can win trust in a skeptical market. Just as DeFi tokens gain credibility when smart contracts are audited, businesses gain loyalty when their practices are visible and verifiable. Third, DeFi emphasizes automation through smart contracts. These are digital agreements that execute automatically when certain conditions are met. While not every business is running on Ethereum, the concept is spreading. Companies are automating invoicing, payments, and logistics with software that reduces human error and speeds up operations. Imagine a trucking company that automatically pays drivers when deliveries are confirmed, or a retailer that instantly releases payments to suppliers when goods arrive. These systems cut costs, improve efficiency, and free up working capital. In essence, smart contract logic is being ported into real-world workflows. Next, there's the principle of incentive alignment. DeFi platforms often reward participants for contributing to the network, whether by staking tokens, providing liquidity, or securing the system. Businesses are realizing the same idea can work for employees, partners, and even customers. Loyalty programs, revenue-sharing models, and performance-based incentives align everyone's interests with the company's growth. For instance, subscription businesses might offer customers rewards for referrals, or manufacturers might share savings from efficiency improvements with suppliers. The idea is to turn every stakeholder into a participant in the profit protocol. Another way decentralization shows up is in corporate governance. In DeFi, decentralized autonomous organizations, or DAOs, allow members to vote on key decisions. While most traditional companies aren't ready to hand over full control, some are experimenting with more participatory governance. Employee ownership programs, shareholder voting platforms, and even customer advisory boards are becoming more common. The principle is that broader participation leads to better decision-making and stronger alignment across the ecosystem. Now let's talk about resilience. DeFi protocols are designed to be anti-fragile, meaning they don't just survive shocks, they adapt and sometimes even grow stronger. Businesses are beginning to build resilience in similar ways. Instead of rigid hierarchies, they're adopting modular structures where different units can operate independently if needed. Instead of single revenue lines, they're building recurring models that spread income across multiple channels. Just like decentralized networks thrive on diversity, businesses are learning that diversified operations create more stable profits. Of course, this isn't without challenges. Decentralization can create complexity. Without clear systems, too many decision makers can slow things down. Transparency requires cultural change, and not every company is ready for it. And automation needs strong infrastructure to work properly, but the long-term benefits often outweigh the risks. Companies that embed decentralized principles are harder to disrupt, more trusted by customers, and better able to scale sustainably. A great example comes from the energy sector. Some utilities are experimenting with decentralized energy grids, where households that generate solar power can sell excess electricity directly to neighbors using blockchain-like systems. This model reduces reliance on a single utility provider, creates new revenue for households, and builds resilience in the grid. It's DeFi logic applied to physical infrastructure. In retail, we see decentralization in how brands are using communities to drive growth. Instead of top-down advertising, companies are creating ecosystems where influencers, customers, and micro-partners all play a role in building the brand. Think of it like decentralized marketing. No single actor controls the narrative. It's distributed across the network of participants. So what's the big takeaway? The principles of DeFi aren't limited to finance. They represent a new way of thinking about business itself. By decentralizing supply chains, increasing transparency, in a world of constant disruption, those who embrace these protocols won't just survive, they'll lead.